Right, are we here? Are we ready? Done. Cool. Right, everybody, welcome back. This is the Nae Bad Podcast. Hope you're doing well this afternoon, this evening, or this morning, whenever it is that you're deciding to listen to the finest voices on the face of the Spotify.
What's up, beautiful people?
Thing. Yeah. How have you been?
Hey, man.
Just a quick catch up.
School's out. You know, we're sliding into summer. I'm doing great.
Cool.
Yeah.
What have you been up to?
We had a championship baseball game last night with my youngest, and we've had actually two baseball games this week. You know, work stuff, man. Just trying to, like I said, slide into the summer, get some things behind me and some things in front of me now. So.
Well, to be fair, we all know about my journey really over the past few months, but not very many people really know about what it is that you do. What is it that you do, Daniel?
Lord.
What do you do? I mean, don't give us all the information because we want the listeners to stick around for as long as possible.
That's right.
Give us just a rundown.
So I tried to do this once a few years back where I was going to do a day in the life of a child nutrition director. So
right, moving on.
That's as simplest form, you know, child nutrition director is the governmental label, but I like to be affectionately known as a food service director. So I oversee the business management aspect of the food and beverage side of public schools.
Nice, cool. So you're in charge of the menus, is it? Or what it is that children get? Purchasing
menus. You know, we are bound by the USDA guidelines in 2025. They're starting to look a little wild and crazy. Lots of things on the horizon with the Ag Bill. The laws that are coming out of individual states. You know, our own governor just put a bill across that's going to kind of put the kibosh on the foods coming from these manufacturers that are just not good for us. The same foods that we export from America over to Europe, that Europe has already said, we don't want the crap, right? We don't want the dyes. We don't want the artificial stuff. We don't want the bad things. So if you're going to export food to us, make it good. And our manufacturer's like, we'll do that. We'll give you the amazing stuff that we're going to custom make for you. But our Americans, they're going to get the shit.
Yeah, they're going to get the shit. You guys are going to get the hot cuts, the dog food.
We get all the leftovers from our manufacturers. But yeah, man, managing the procurement aspect of our food, managing the labor, overseeing the day-to-day operations. That's the gist of it. But I do have a soapbox about child nutrition and the world that we have to deal with the federal government. And as a matter of fact, shout out to Callie and Casey Means. They're doing a lot of great stuff right now with RFK. And revolving around the making America healthy again. So I tweeted Callie and told him that I would love to talk to him about the child nutrition program, because all of these things that they're discussing right now revolve around that manufactured item that we export being something very, very different than what those manufacturers are turning around and retailing to Americans. And so there's a big bag of things to discuss there, but I wish that I had a good, here's a platform, but I wish I had a conversation with Callie and could be insightful as to what us operators deal with every day.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds interesting. It's not. I don't know if it's ever.
Does it?
Does it? Not particularly.
You kind of hesitated there a little bit.
Yeah. To be fair, I'm not even in touch with my own fucking nutrition. I don't know if I can tell anybody else how to nutrition their own body.
There you go.
I know. Well, other than that, I've got some pretty wild events have happened in the last few weeks, that's for sure.
What's going on with you?
What's going on with me? Well, it'll be nearly not last Sunday, but the Sunday before. I experienced probably one of the most unhinged southern things that I have so far in the 2 years that I've been here, that's for sure.
Let's hear it.
So viewer discretion advised, this story does contain some heavy details, that's for sure, but if you can't hack the sauce...
Are we talking underage ears go and
if there's
find
underage ears
right
already listening to this, then I'm afraid we've already contaminated the water a little bit here.
Yeah.
No, so last Sunday, it wasn't last Sunday, it was the Sunday prior to that. Me and the wife, we were heading into town, and we get a phone call from her mother saying, you need to get to your grandmother's house like fucking licky split because she's just been attacked by a dog.
Okay.
Like, oh, sweet,
that
cool.
Happens, yeah.
Me and her EMTs were like, let's go and get some action here, a bit more personal. So we go along, and obviously the Saturday beforehand, we'd had some pretty severe weather had come down on top of us, and there was limbs and sticks and stuff like that all in her back garden. Or her backyard, sorry.
Yeah, backyard. You've said that a couple times today. I'm like, oh, man, it's not a garden.
How big's bro's garden, bro?
That's all right.
But no, this storm came in, and it threw out all of these limbs and sticks and stuff like that, and her grandmother goes outside the next morning to go and tidy up her yard and pick up all these things. Well, anyway, there is some people who live behind her who've got some questionable daytime hobbies that enjoy
in Yale County,
detaching themselves from this reality quite frequently.
Okay.
And I think the way that I would describe them back home would probably be scumbags. Okay. Would probably be the best way to do it. They're like their methamphetamines.
Yeah.
And I think they like to enjoy their methamphetamines with their canine
As we say, they don't meth around,
house.
right?
No, they don't meth around. I think they enjoyed that with their canine buddies, that's for sure. So we get down there, and obviously the police have turned up at this point.
Oh, wow.
There's 2 cops that are there.
At your wife's grandmother's?
At the grandmother's house, yes. And her grandmother's obviously on the porch, and she's rather shaken up because, yes, she has been attacked by these dogs. There's a few things that have obviously gone on with these dogs in the past little while. We've said to the police, you need to sort this person out with their animals because they've just opened the door and just let them fucking run wild. Okay. And there's 2 of these animals have shown to be relatively aggressive, violent animals in the past. So I get there, and Isabel goes and checks on her grandmother, and her grandfather, her pa, turns up, and we go and speak to a cop that's there. And we're like, right, her grandmother has been bitten, broken the skin. You need to get these dogs and, get them out of here because they're dangerous animals.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, these so-called dogs, they've run off. We don't know where they are. They're somewhere. And bear in mind, Isabel's grandparents live in the center of town. Like, they're slap bang in the middle. So I said to him, I was like, right, okay, well, when you catch these dogs, like, they need to go, on to the next life because they're going to hurt somebody quite badly someday. Because they already have. Had her grandmother fallen over, they would have absolutely ravaged her. They would have killed her. They're just, they're pit bulls that are out of control at this point. So I said to the 2 animals at this point then run back. They come back to the house, and this lady who owns the animals is picking up sticks in her yard.
While y'all are there now?
While we're here, so these animals come back. And this lady who's there doesn't care about the fact that Isabel's grandmother has just been bitten, and these dogs are running around, and the dogs are like nipping each other and playing very aggressively with each other, the same way that you'd see kind of hyenas play with each other. And I said to the officer that was there, I was like, right, we're gonna go inside. This is because there's 2 cops, there's me, Isabel, and her grandfather are stood there, It says, there is a very high chance that these dogs are going to attack again. It says, there's too many of us here. So he says, yeah, that's no bother. Usually on you go. We turn around and we go to walk inside, and this dog makes a fucking beeline for me.
Jesus.
Just feral, like fucking going nuts. And I'm stood there, and I turn my back to it, obviously to fucking keep my nuts from being torn off. And at this point, her grandfather stands his ground. Now, there's two animals here. There's two dogs, pit bulls, that are going absolutely haywire. Her grandfather, he stands his ground and is trying to shoo them away. At this point, he's now got direct eye contact with one of these dogs. And this dog is like, shit, I feel threatened now because this person has stood here and he's, standing up to me. The other one flanks him and grabs his calf and starts shaking the back of his leg really violently. I reached for my knife at this point because I'm thinking to myself, if this thing comes for me or Isabel, I'm going to fucking kill it. I am going to stab this thing to death. No remorse. I don't care.
Yeah.
And it's like that situation where, a vegan asks you, like, if you were in a position to kill an animal, do you think you could really do it? And in that moment, I was like, yes, I could very clearly,
that's why we carry
kill this thing.
That's why we have guns in our pockets.
Well, I'm going to get to that soon. So I then run towards this animal that's attacking her grandfather, and I screamed at the top of my lungs, and it obviously shit the bed, and it ran. And I said to the police officer, who comes walking towards us, gun drawn, out of its holster, he's holding it, and he goes, did that dog just bite? Did that dog just bite? And I was like, yeah, get that fucking dog dead now. I says, I don't care. I says, shoot it. I says, because it is going to get somebody. There's a kids' play park across the street. I says, thankfully it's empty, because if these dogs had seen that, it would have been fucking open buffet for these two dogs.
Yeah.
We then go inside, round the corner. Well, we're still outside. We're still on the porch. This dog then attacks the cop that's there, and within seconds, he discharges his pistol in the street and just puts a rather large fucking 9mm hole in the back of this dog's head. In the street. No bother.
Yeah.
Just...
Yeah. Was this mounted patrol or city police?
No, this was Dardanelle police. These boys, they did their job, and they did it well.
Yeah.
Good. Because there was very little that they could do at this point, because technically apparently according to Arkansas state law, that you can't confiscate an animal until which point it has done something necessary to confiscate it. And it did. It attacked 2 people.
So...
And nearly 3.
You're not wrong. There's a bit of a provision, and I don't know if it's county by county, but this happened to me about 10 years ago when I was running, going for a run, a jog. Yeah. And a mutt animal came out of someone's front yard, ran behind me, and at this point in my life, I'm not traumatized by animals. Dogs, I love them, right? I cannot say the same thing for now, currently in my life. I'm highly traumatized by dogs, but this dog came up behind me as I'm jogging and was chasing me. Well, I chose to ignore it. Most of the time, if you ignore the animals, they won't. But this is my first encounter with this animal. And so I ignored it. I kind of knew it was behind me and fairly close.
Were you in full sprint at this point?
I wasn't in full sprint. I was just jogging. I was running. No. I was trying to stay very cool, calm, and collected. Military training says so. So I'm trying to remain calm, and this dog reaches up and grabs a hold of the back of my knee and bites into it. And so I immediately turn around, and it kind of gets aggressive. It kind of backs up and gets into a standoff with me. I'm not sure what scared it away, but it ran off. And there I stand in the middle of this road, this highway. It is a highway. I stand in the middle of this highway, gushing blood from the back of my knee, assuming I've hit my femoral artery. So I see a hole in the back of my knee, and I reach down and I jam my thumb into it, thinking
proper
that
puncture wound in the back of your leg.
I'm assuming that this thing is open an artery, and I'm going to start just pumping blood out. So come to find out, it wasn't that crazy. I did get several stitches, ended up in the emergency room, drove myself to the emergency room.
You have to get the rabies shot.
So in my life and experience, I've been...
do not tell me you're anti-vax.
No. I've been in the emergency room so much so that I should have like a frequency card. Mm-hmm. And I've been, through the military and everything, just vaccinated with everything, shots that we don't know. But I've had a tetanus shot for, I think I've probably had 3 tetanus shots in the last 10 years.
Three tetanus shots, yeah.
So, but my point of the story is that they can quarantine that dog for rabies check for like 24 to 48 hours or something.
Well, no, so this is the next kind of phase of what happened here. So obviously these cops did their job exceptionally well. I will say that the owner of this dog, despite the fact that her dog is now, deceased, birth certificate has expired. Yeah. She didn't care. Yeah. Didn't care. Yeah. She was in what Isabel calls a meth-induced cleaning state, where this... lady was just, not remotely interested. Yeah. So we then take them to the hospital and get them looked at. They were like, well, the other animal has been caught and needs to be held for 15 days to check to see if it's got rabies, and then they're going to put it down. And we were like, well, what, we don't really understand the point in this, because you're still going to have to test it for rabies after it's dead. Yeah. So why not just put it down? All you're doing is keeping this poor animal in a cage, inevitably waiting its death. Which is sad. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. But they said to us, they were like, right, okay, the state will contact you guys and tell you whether or not you need to go and get the rabies shot. So 24 hours go by and they get a phone call and they're like, right, you guys need to go and get the rabies shot, because the problem is one dog is alive. The other one is deceased. We cannot test the one that is deceased. So therefore, the one that is still alive may not have rabies, but the one that is now dead may have had it. But we can't test the one that's dead.
Have both of these dogs attacked separately, or is there one of the dogs that did all the attacking and the other one just kind of...
There was one that was... Well, we don't know. Oh. Because it was all happening so quickly that...
Because two people were attacked, right? Grandma and Grandpa?
Yes.
But, so my question is, was it a different dogs?
We don't know. It was the same 2 dogs that went after the same 2 people. But we don't really know in terms of that. Okay. So apparently the way that they test for rabies is they'll take the dog's head off, and they'll take spinal fluid and brain tissue, and they'll test it that way. But because this dog has been shot in the head, it doesn't have a brain. Not one that's not contaminated. Testable. One that's testable. But so they've been on the rabies shots now for the last 14 days, I think they've been on that. So yeah. But yeah, that was a pretty gnarly experience, because I will tell you one thing for sure.
It all happened very quickly, right? It all happened
very quickly, and you would not get that back home. Yeah. You absolutely would not. One, cops don't have guns. Yeah. So I don't really know what's going to happen if a dog decides to attack like that. I mean, my dad's a cop, and all he's got is a pepper spray. But I can imagine that's only just going to piss this animal off more. But afterwards, it's going to be absolutely, filled with fucking snot and drool, and then it's going to be coming after you, contaminating everything with with their saliva. So I don't know how that would happen back home, to be fair, but it all happened very quickly, and not a single person looked out their window, came out of their house, or even commented on Facebook. Has anybody seen or heard a gunshot go off in the center of town?
Welcome to Yale County,
Yale
Arkansas.
County is fucking insane. It's absolutely mental. You know?
Yeah.
It's insane. So yeah, that
Yeah,
was that was that. It was the most wild thing ever. I mean, like, I just never thought I would be around a cop.
Yeah.
Discharging his firearm in the street. You know, he just did it there and then, and rightfully so. This animal was a danger, and it had to be, dispatched.
That's good, man. I'm glad for him. Glad that there's those protocols where we put humans first instead of dogs and animals.
It's a shame that I had to come to that, though. To be fair, the animal, but it is what it is, Kind
of like kids when as a coach, you deal with or as a child nutrition director, you deal with kids in life that either don't show up to practices on time, and I'm guilty, but that they can't pay for their lunches and things because they don't have jobs. So it's the parents' responsibility, or the owners of the dogs' responsibilities is what I was trying to get at. Yeah,
and maintain their property.
It's not the dog's fault, unfortunately, but
Yeah. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah,
that rather
sucks, man.
Depressing
that sucks.
beginning to the podcast. However, I thought it was a rather interesting story.
I'm glad that you got to be with a cop while he discharged his firearm. That's cool.
I mean, I'm not.
And I didn't realize that Scottish police don't carry weapons. That's interesting.
They don't carry guns. So.
They have, what do they have, batons at least?
Yeah,
or, can they kick the shit out of somebody or something?
Yeah, they can.
Okay.
They can,
right.
Rinse one or two people, with a,
That's good.
a baton and their pepper spray.
Do you have any friends that are cops that are listening right now?
Well, my dad will probably be listening, to be fair. And he sent the podcast to a few boys on the department back where he is. But did you not see Liverpool Football Club, they won the British Championship football tournament the other day. Big deal in the UK.
Nice.
It's a really big deal. So Liverpool won, and then so we have a thing over there where the winning team will get a double-decker bus and they'll parade through the city or town, whichever one wins, with the trophy, and tens of thousands of fans will stand in the street. Well, the other day there was this parade, as you guys would call it, was on.
And a riot? Was there a riot?
Well, it turned sour.
Juicy.
So I don't really know the full logistics of what happened, but I know that somehow there was a driver in a car managed to get down one of these streets with like thousands of fans walking through the street.
He's just mowing them over.
He just put his foot down
Damn.
and mowed over all these fucking fans. They were going down like bowling pins, dude.
Yeah.
This guy eventually stops, and I will say you do not fuck with people from Liverpool.
Yeah.
These are football fans.
Yeah.
That are celebrating one of the most important moments in their life, because football is that big in the UK. It is.
Oh, I know.
A part of your life.
Absolutely.
So you have all these people that are now crowding around this car because the guy didn't go out there this wasn't an act of terrorism.
Yeah.
These people were just in his way.
Yeah.
And he had an act of road rage and mowed down all these people. So these people all drag him out of his car and start kicking the hell out of him. And all these police come along. And there's police with batons trying to deal with the crowd who are trying to attack this guy, but they're also trying to arrest this guy for going all the way through these people. And there's a video that I saw online of these police that are trying to arrest this guy, but the Liverpool fans are kicking the shit out of this guy at the same time. These police are trying to arrest him. It's absolute carnage. And not a single gunshot was fired.
Nice. Mad props to solving problems without shooting people.
I saw a video a few years ago. There was a guy in Paris. I think he had like a katana, and he was just running around with it, just acting like an idiot. And these French cops, there was like 6 of them, just rugby tackled him to the ground.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Just took him out instantly.
We need to get back to just beating the shit out of people for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
Hey, speaking of UK football, how's the what's the take on Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney taking on and owning Wrexham?
What about Wrexham?
Yeah,
I think there was a lot of interest in it at first, because there's 2 Hollywood fans that have taken on Wrexham FC.
Yeah.
A team that...
Good ball club?
Well, they weren't. They
were
back in, I think it was like the 60s and 70s. Mm-hmm. They were, first division, Premier League football team that were really good.
Yeah.
But so in the UK, we have this thing that the more games you win, the more points you achieve, the higher up the list you go. Mm-hmm. If you don't get enough points, you get relegated down into the 2nd division. If you don't make enough points in the 2nd division, you get relegated down into the 3rd division. The 3rd division is like your local guys, Sunday night football, essentially.
We learned all this from Ted Lasso.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You've seen Ted Lasso.
Love Ted Lasso.
Great show that actually, kind of shows the whole way that that football is run in the UK. I mean, it's really good that Ryan Reynolds and what's his name again?
Rob McElhenney.
Rob McElhenney. They have changed the way that Wrexham is perceived. Now, Wrexham was one of the industry towns way back when. It was a factory town. There was loads of workers, but I think based on politics over the years and stuff, that they have really just fallen apart.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool that they've gone in there and they've built Wrexham back up into, I think they might be 1st division now. They were relegated like to the bottom of the 3rd division, and they're now way back in the 1st division now, I believe. I'm not sure. But there's 10...
It says there, 3 successive promotions, reaching the EFL, the 2nd tier of the football league.
Yeah.
So that's great, man. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that's cool. I wasn't sure.
It's cool. I mean, I've seen Welcome to Wrexham and stuff like that. I don't really know if I'm a big fan of Ryan Reynolds and that.
I'm a fan of the actors for sure. And if they have taken on this venture to do something great, which it sounds like for a community there.
100%. They have turned the community around.
That's awesome. I like seeing that.
For sure.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Founded in 1864, Wrexham AFC.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, long time team for sure. 100%. But these guys are like, they're playing, national football games, but then they're also working full-time jobs as joiners, electricians, and stuff like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, these guys, well, they were when they were down in the 3rd division.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because
not so much now if they're making their way back
almost
up.
like rec league at that 3rd division kind of deal.
Yeah, they're not getting paid anything.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
At that point, because there is no money.
Ah.
When Ryan Reynolds and that went in there, the stadium was, fairly desolate in certain parts. So they have built it completely back up,
cool.
from the bottom. Yeah. Well, look, my dad, he sent me this picture the other day, and I found it rather funny. So over in the UK, we have these sweet treats, they're called.
Sweet treats.
It's called tablet. It's like condensed milk that is cooked for an excessive amount of time. And there is so much sugar goes into these. It's just milk and butter and syrup and stuff like that goes into it.
Sounds good.
It's really good. It
sounds great.
It's like a crumbly kind of caramel toffee.
Not the Ted Lasso cookies that he brought every day.
No.
Those
not the biscuits.
The biscuits. That's what it is. Yeah.
Anyway, somebody has taken this photo of the tablet, the square of tablet there.
All right, Miss Tilly's.
Mrs. Tilly's tablet.
All right.
And has left a review.
For those of you that can't see, that looks like
it's just a square.
It's just a square of
what looks
individually
like
wrapped toffee, brown in color, caramel in color. Okay.
Well, somebody has left a review, and they're from.
Does it say on there like candy on the wrapper?
It says ingredients: sugar, whole milk, butter,
okay,
sweetened condensed milk, glucose syrup.
But it doesn't say Miss Tilly's.
Allergens. See ingredients in bold. May also contain nuts.
Okay, all right.
Produced in Scotland, UK. Somebody has taken this, and I will say it's an American tourist, has taken this, and has obviously gone on a vacation holiday back in the UK.
Mm.
And they have, the owners of this hotel, B&B, have left a square of this tablet at the end of the bed, probably on top of the towels that are rent.
Mints, we do that.
Mints,
yep,
yes.
We got them here.
This guy has left a review, which only could be left by somebody from this side of the world.
Yeah.
It says, beautiful.
Beautiful.
Location and view were superb. Very clean and had everything we needed. So far, so good.
About the room, right?
So far, so good.
All right, I'm tracking.
However, you guys have really got to do something with that brown tablet bar of soap you put on each of our beds. Not only was it gritty and left an oily residue, but disintegrated before the shower was done. I have had much better exfoliating bar scrubs. Please remove these.
Oh, man. Yeah.
So somebody has taken this bar of tablet and has used it as a bar of soap, thinking that that's what it was.
You know, the more we get crafty here in America and the more our soap looks like chocolate, I'm not surprised. I'm really not surprised. You know, you see these handcrafted soaps now that are at these little apothecary stores. And, man, they're littered with, you know, chunks of peppermint, and they've got, you know, some of them have toffee in them, chunks of caramel. Like, it doesn't surprise me that we are where we are with either eating soap or washing with toffee.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm totally tracking.
However, after reading that, I went on a bit of a spree on a subreddit.
Okay.
And found some reviews
that
people have left either on Amazon or whatnot.
All right, this is fun.
I haven't read all of these, I will say, but some of these are pretty superb.
Okay.
I will say. There was one here that I found. There was a group of guys bought a giant 8-foot beach ball that they took with them to the beach in the middle of summer in South Carolina, I think they said it was. Anyway, the review read, "A fun way to ruin a weekend and blow $100. Reviewed in the United States on February 3rd, 2018. We took this ball to the beach, and after close to 2 hours to pump it up, we pushed it around for about 10 fun-filled minutes. That was when the wind picked up and sent it hurtling down the beach at about 40 knots. It destroyed everything in its path. Children screamed in terror as the giant inflatable monster that crushed their sandcastles. Grown men were knocked to the ground trying to save their families and children. The faster we chased it, the faster it rolled. It was like it was mocking us. Eventually, we had to stop running after it because its path of injury and destruction was going to cost us a fortune in legal fees. Rumor has it that it can still be seen stalking innocent families on the Florida Panhandle. We lost it in South Carolina. So if that tells you something about its durability, then 10 stars.
Fantastic.
This one
funny.
Here that I
can see that happening. I can picture that.
This one
it looks awesome.
Was really good.
I want to do that.
This one was really good. This one's quite long, but it's good. So this was written by a guy on Amazon called John W. Osborne Jr. He's rated this 5 stars. And this was for Veet, the men's hair removal gel cream. From hell.
Okay.
I don't know if anybody knows what Veet is. It is essentially just... Do you know what Veet is?
No.
So it's a cream that you apply to areas of hair, and it essentially just like
we have Nair.
I don't know what
it's the same thing. It
just removes the hair from that area, but it's
Nair.
It's potent stuff. I knew a guy once that tried to remove his mustache with
Oh my god.
with Veet, and he looked pretty horrendous afterwards. Anyway, this guy said, after having been told my danglies looked like an elderly Rastafarian, I decided to take the plunge and buy some of this, as previous shaving attempts had only been mildly successful, and I nearly put my back out trying to reach the more difficult bits. Being a bit of a romantic, I thought I would do the deed on the missus's birthday as a bit of a treat. I ordered it well in advance, and working in the North Sea, I consider myself a bit above some of the characters writing the previous reviews, and wrote them off as soft office types. Oh, my fellow sufferers, how wrong was I? I waited until the other half was tucked up in bed, and after some vague hints about a special surprise, I went down to the bathroom. Initially, all went well, and I applied the gel and stood waiting for something to happen. I didn't have to wait long. So this guy is applying this stuff to his arsehole and his balls at this point.
Okay.
At first, there was a gentle warmth, which in a matter of seconds was replaced by an intense burning and a feeling I can only describe as like being given a barbed wire wedgie by two people intent on hitting the ceiling with my head. Religion hadn't featured much in my life until that night, but I had suddenly become willing to convert to any religion to stop the violent burning around the turd tunnel and what seemed like the destruction of the meat and two veg.
Oh my god.
Struggling to not bite through my bottom lip, I tried to wash the gel off of the inside of the sink and only succeeded in blocking the plug hole with a mat of hair. Through the haze of tears, I struggled out of the bathroom, across the hall, into the kitchen. By this time, walking was not really possible, and I crawled the final yards to the fridge in the hope of some form of cold relief. I yanked the freezer drawer out and found a tub of ice cream, tore the lid off, and positioned it under me. The relief was fantastic, but only temporary, as it melted fairly quickly, and the fiery stabbing soon returned. Due to the shape of the ice cream tub, I hadn't managed to give the starfish any treatment. I grobbed around in the drawer for something else, as I was sure my vision was going to fail fairly soon. I grabbed a bag of what I later found out was frozen sprouts and tore it open, trying to be quiet as I did so. I took a handful of them, and I tried in vain to clench some between the cheeks of my arse. This was not doing the trick, as some of the gel had found its way up the chutney channel, and it felt like the space shuttle was running its engines behind me. This was probably and hopefully the only time in my life I was going to wish there was a gay snowman in the kitchen, which should give you some idea of the depths I was willing to sink in order to ease the pain in my arse.
Oh, God.
The only solution my pain-crazed mind could come up with was to gently ease one of these sprouts where no veg had gone before. Unfortunately, alerted by the strange grunts coming from the kitchen, the other half chose that moment to come in and investigate, and was greeted by the sight of me, arse in the air, strawberry ice cream dripping from the bell end, pushing a sprout up my arse whilst muttering, "Oh, that feels good."
Sounds like someone has gotten some creative writing skills.
Some incredible skills.
Yeah.
Understandingly, this was a shock to her, and she let out a gasp and a scream. And as I hadn't heard her come in, it caused an involuntary spasm of shock in myself, which resulted in the sprout being ejected at quite some speed in her direction. I can understand that having a sprout farted against your leg at 11 at night in the kitchen probably wasn't the special surprise she was expecting. And having to explain to the kids the next day what the strange hollow hole in the ice cream was didn't improve my status. So to sum it up, Veet removes hair, dignity, and self-respect. Man. What a great use of your words, brother.
Yeah, that was descriptive. I like that.
I like that.
That was fun.
Now I've got one more here.
Okay.
Which is apparently been hailed one of the greatest reviews of all time.
Okay.
Apparently, according to Amazon. Just don't, unless it's a gift for someone you hate. Now, this is a guy reviewing a box of sugar-free gummy bears.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if you know anything about sugar-free content, but they essentially act as a laxative because of the substance that's in the sugar-free content.
I want to say this has come up before, this review, but go ahead.
Oh man, words cannot express what happened to me after eating these. The gummy bear cleanse. If you're someone that can tolerate the sugar substitute, enjoy. If you are like the dozens of people that tried my order, then run. First of all, for taste, I would rate these a 5. So good, soft, true to taste fruit flavors, like the sugar variety. I was a happy little camper. But should I say, with 2 T's, not long after eating about 20 of these, all hell broke loose. I had a gastrointestinal experience like nothing I've ever imagined. Cramps, sweating, bloating beyond my worst nightmare. I've had food poisoning from some bad shellfish in the past. And that was almost like a skip in the park compared to what was going on inside me right now. Then came the flatulence. Heavens to Murgatroyd.
What?
This sounds like a trumpet's calling the demons back to hell. The stench like 1,000 rotten corpses vomited. I couldn't stand to stay in one room for fear of succumbing to my own odors. But wait, there's more. What came out of me felt like someone tried to funnel Niagara Falls through a coffee straw. I swear my sphincters were screaming. It felt like my delicate starfish was a gaping maw projectile vomiting a torrential flood of toxic waste. 100% liquid, flammable liquid, napalm to be precise. It was actually a bit humorous for a nanosecond. It was just beyond anything I could imagine possible. This went on for hours and hours. I felt violated. When it was over, which I think might have been sometime in the early morning of the next day, there was stuff coming out of me that I ate at my wedding in 2005, 10 years prior. I have 5 pounds of these innocent-looking, delicious-tasting hell bears. So I told a friend about what had happened to me, thinking it had to be some type of sensitivity. I had the sugar substitute. And in spite of my warnings and graphic descriptions, she decided to take her chances and take them off my hands. Silly woman. All of the same for her, and a phone call from her while on the toilet because you kind of end up living in the bathroom for a very short spell. Telling me she was really wish she would have listened. I think she was potentially crying. Her sister was skeptical and suspected that we were exaggerating. She took them to work since there was still 99% of a 5-pound bag left. She works for a construction company where there are builders, roofers, house painters, landscapers, etc. Lots of people who generally have limited access to toilets on a given day. I can't imagine where all of these poor men and women pooped that day. I keep envisioning men on roofs, crossing their legs and trying to decide if they can make it down the ladder or if they should just jump. If you order these, best of luck to you, and please don't post a video reviewing during aftershocks. P.S. When I ordered these, the warnings and disclaimers and legalese were not posted. I'm not a moron. Also, not why so many people assume I'm a man. I am a woman. We poop too, of course. Our poop sparkles and smells like a walk in a meadow and wildflowers. Thanks for all the great comments. I've been enjoying reading them and so glad that the horror show I experienced from snacking on these has at least made some people smile. Very well done.
Yeah.
Christine, that sounded like something from absolute hell.
Lord have mercy.
You know.
There's been there's been some things happen in the past with the Ha-Reebo gummy bears.
The what?
The Ha-Reebo. It's the brand.
No. Say that again.
There's been.
No, not the whole thing.
What?
The brand.
Ha-Reebo.
Ha-Reebo.
Am I saying that wrong?
You're saying it really, really wrong.
Okay. Haribo?
Ha-Reebo.
Okay.
Not Ha-Reebo.
What? That's
Who fucking taught you how to say that?
Ha-Reebo.
A Japanese guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, Daniel-san.
That's where we're at, man.
Daniel-san,
Ha-Reebo.
have some Ha-Reebo. Some.
Nobody's
sugary
ever
snacks.
corrected me on that.
It's probably because everybody down here says exactly the same.
Ha-Reebo says the same thing.
Ha-Reebo.
Ha-Reebo.
That's good.
Yeah, man. Maybe I just made that up in my head.
Ha-Reebo.
Ha-Reebo.
Yeah, Ha-Reebo.
All right.
Not Ha-Reebo.
What sounds cooler though?
Ha-Reebo.
No.
Not Ha-Reebo.
Ha-Reebo.
No, that's
Yes, it
absolutely
sounds
not.
so much better.
Man. Anyway, you've experienced
there was like some online viral something or other a couple years back where it was the explosive, diarrhea thing that people were posting about. And there may have even been one of those stupid, Ha-Reebo challenges where you see how many, you can't eat a bag or something, without
that. I had a similar experience the other day. I made myself something for dinner and made some chicken. It was raw chicken that I cooked. But the next day was dealing with a situation that most people don't like to be in. That's for sure.
Man,
I think I've broken the time record for the fastest drive from top to bottom up Nebo. Dude, I was sideways in the car halfway up there. I fucking left that car so fast. Got in the house. It was one of them situations where you're trying to put the key in the fucking slot.
Yeah.
But it's like a game of operation at the same time.
Yeah.
I managed to get the door open. The cat was on the other side of the door. He hit the wall at the other side of the room. The dog stopped, ears back, eyes fucking back. Like, what is going on here?
Newton was kicking your ass.
We have a stair gate in the kitchen to stop the dog from going in there.
Yeah.
I evidently forgot that was there and fucking practically, pole vaulted over the top of that thing into the bathroom. Trousers down, pants down, sat down, went to town. It was not good, bro. It was one of them, one of them shits that you do where it's, you start off pants down.
Yeah, I mean...
Then you end up no hoodie on.
Yeah.
Then you end up no t-shirt.
Because you've sweated through everything.
Then suddenly, I still, with my socks on, need more relief. And now I am sitting there like a fucking naked chimp on the fucking toilet. Suffering like fuck. And I finished, and there was no toilet roll.
I'm gonna tell you a story about.
It was awful.
Yes. Now
what I left behind was nothing short of a preschool finger painting in the fucking toilet, dude. It took multiple flushes.
So
this thing was paying rent in the house.
If you aren't familiar with pickle brands, there's a brand out there.
Like the like spicy pickle in the bag that you can get?
No, these are jars, right? So jars of pickles. If you're not familiar with the brands, the various brands names, there's one called Atkins. Atkins Pickles. Atkins Pickles was founded and birthed in Atkins, Arkansas, which is, as you know,
they have Pickle Fest
15 minutes down the road.
Don't they?
They have Pickle Fest every year.
Only in the South again.
And at Pickle Fest, they have various contests. My 14-year-old self goes to Pickle Fest, and I said to myself, I really enjoy pickle juice. I drink it at home. I grab a pickle, I take the jar, I turn it up.
Fucking rancid, dude.
And so I thought to myself...
You drink the brine from a tin of tuna as well. Oh, my God.
Love it. It's gravy. Everything's gravy. That's what we call it. It's gravy.
Rough, dude.
So I'm at Pickle Fest with my buddy, and we're 14, and we were like, oh, we love pickles. Let's join the pickle juice drinking contest.
Mm-hmm.
We love pickle juice so much.
Nice.
So the contest for pickle juice drinking is at the end of the day, and we're talking about a summer event. And where does the pickle juice come from? It's not from the factory. No. It is from a trough. It's from a trough that is fed by buckets of pickle juice that comes from all the various cubicles and tents that are set up around Pickle Fest. So Pickle Fest closes down downtown Atkins, and these booths are set up all around the town square, and you go and you just walk around. And at a lot of these booths, there's pickles being opened. And what they'll do is they'll serve the pickle out to the people. They'll take the juice, they'll dump it in a bucket. That bucket goes to a trough where it's combined with all the other buckets. And now at the end of the day, at the end of the festival, you have a trough full of pickle juice. And you hold the pickle juice drinking contest. So you line the stage up with 5 or 6 individuals that think that they can drink a jar of pickle juice very quickly. So they hand you a pickle jar. They dunk it down into the trough and they hand it to you. And you're holding the jar of pickle juice. And on the count of 3, you then try to drink it faster
How
than the
big
guy
is
next to
jar?
you.
Peanut butter
It's a
jar
quart.
size?
It's a
Oh,
quart.
Quarter.
Quart. Okay. The grand prize is a trip to Disney World. And what do we Americans love more than Disney World, right?
Oil.
Okay. Disney World. Every kid wants to go. So I'm like, I got this. I got this in the bag. I've never been in a food contest before. There's things that you must do about opening your throat and dumping things down your gullet.
You should be used to that.
I start
calluses on your knees.
Yeah. I start to drink this pickle juice, and I realize very quickly that I'm in second place. And the guy who's reigning champion from the year before is standing to my right. My buddy has already dimed out. I'm in second place, and the 3 other individuals didn't make it very far. So I drink and I guzzle and I drink and I guzzle, and ultimately I lose. I don't come in first place. I immediately turn and walk off the stage, and within 3 feet of being off the stage, I find just my head poked around the corner of something, I think, and I hurl everywhere. Okay. So that's the first.
That reflux.
That's the first.
Must have been horrendous.
It was awful.
Your sodium level must have been through the roof.
So step 1 is to purge your body through your mouth, right? And throw up everything that, you think everything that you just ingested.
Did first place?
No, he did fine. He was a stud. An absolute stud.
A walk in the park.
Yeah. So I get home.
I bet you his body odor smells so bad, dude.
I get home an hour later, and I go find the toilet. And it was as if someone turned on an outside water faucet to my ass. And what ensued, therefore, after was quite representative of turning on an outside faucet. And it just poured.
Was there pickle bits?
It just poured.
That is disgusting.
And
you should have gone over to the trough.
It happened about 2 more times. So, man, I've been there in more ways than one. Actually, if you end up at my age going and having a colonoscopy, the prep work for that is also similar. And
I will tell you one thing: nothing gets you shitting like a night on the Guinness.
Ooh,
I will tell you one thing.
Interesting.
That'll get you going. That's a cleanse for you.
Interesting.
That's a cleanse.
Ugh.
For sure. Yeah, the other day, me and the wife, we were in town. And she
Russellville, Dardanelle?
Atkins.
Oh.
Yeah, we went to Atkins.
All right, we're talking about
So she
Atkins.
tells me that, she needs to go and get her nails done. I'm like, right, okay, that's fair enough. You go and do your thing. I'll just sit in the car and wait for you in the process.
Mm-hmm.
So she goes in. Before she went in, she had really nice red nails.
Mm-hmm.
Very well done. Elegant.
Already really nice. And you're suspecting, wow, you don't need to go get your nails done.
Yeah, I was thinking, you don't need to have
You don't need to spend that money.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a bald guy saying he's going for a haircut. But I said to him, I said to Isabel, I was like, right, on you go, in you go. So I wait in the car. And she comes back out and she goes, what do you think? And she shows me her nails. And they look like they got nothing on them. You know?
Yeah.
And I said to her, I was like...
Like they had been stripped of the original polish.
Yeah, they look like they had been stripped of the original polish.
So
it
just
like
looked normal, regular nails.
And she said to me, she says, yeah, it's a nude color.
A nude
and
color.
I said to her, I says, how much did that cost you? She went, oh, it was like $85, $90. And I was like, $90 to have your nails look the way they do without the fucking nail polish. She goes, yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, explain the logistics to me of this to me in the way that this has worked in your head. Because it doesn't. Like I said, there's a bald guy going and getting a haircut and spending $90 on it.
Yeah.
It makes no sense whatsoever. She goes, I think they look nice. And I was like, I can't tell if they look nice. Because they look exactly the way they do when you don't have nail varnish on. It was like, what's the purpose? And she was like, oh, because it's got a protective layer over them. And I was like, they're fingernails. They're designed naturally for clawing onto things. They don't need a protective layer on them. They are the protective layer for your finger. I was like, I don't understand the way that you're seeing this. She was like, well, I think they look really nice. And I was like, well, do you know what? I'm glad. I am glad that you've gone in there and you've given $90 to this lady in there to go and do a nude color on your fingernails. And she was like, well, I think they look nice. And I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. Why would you possibly go in and get something done that just looks normal?
Yeah, I don't know. Does that not happen a lot in Scotland? Do the women not go for nails?
Oh no, they go and get their nails done, but they like their nails to be like 6 inches from the end of their fingers. You know, big fake tan seen in the UK as well.
Yeah,
all of our girls, they're all like fucking orange all the time. I think it was one of my ex-girlfriends years and years and years ago. She got a fake tan, and I woke up the next morning, and obviously she's gone to sleep that night, and it bleeds from your skin that night. I didn't know if it was her or me that had shit the bed, because the bed was now fucking orange.
Wow. From fake tan.
From fake tan.
Yeah.
We
have a little bit of that around here. But I don't know. It's that weird. I'm very just into.
Is there a giant fucking woodpecker downstairs?
Yeah, no, dude. I think it's.
I don't know if anybody can hear that.
My son. I hope they can't.
A giant woodpecker.
It may be my son in the stairwell, just waiting patiently to come upstairs and just stepping on the steps one at a time. I don't know.
One at a time.
Well, man, we're at an hour. It's kind of where we've been.
Where we've been recently over the past few episodes for sure.
But you said to me yesterday that it's been really cool to see a lot of your folks listening in and they're kind of digging. They're kind of digging what we got going on here. So
yeah, 100%. I've just opened. Fucking hell! So I don't know if you've heard of the cheese rolling festival.
Cheese rolling?
The cheese roll festival is
where?
Hell. It's in the UK.
Oh, okay. All right.
where they'll go out and they'll roll a big, huge roll of cheese down a grass hill.
Okay.
And the aim of the game is the people have got to. There's like dozens of people chase this roll of cheese down a hill. It's a really steep hill, and they chase this roll of cheese, and I think you've got to try and catch it. I don't know if you've seen this video here of this one guy absolutely wiping out in the process. Look at this.
Watch what carrots do to your dog.
I get that skipped. Advertisements. Get that skipped. Yep.
Look at her. It's admirable. It requires dedication. It's about
Look at
having
this
limits,
brother
but not getting
just
issues.
absolutely fly.
Most importantly, it's about seeing if people can fly. Genocide, war, the
God
collapse
bless.
of the planet. One bloke can make
I don't
this
even see the
world
cheese.
think about that. A simple
It's
man
just
living a
men.
simple
Look at
life
this guy.
for cheese.
God.
How many angles of this guy do we have? Not enough would be the answer to that.
Absolutely
But seriously,
wild.
is he okay?
Oh, my-
Are any sports journalists interested in that story? Alived, unalived, anyone? I mean, what
It's
is
insane.
the point
Yeah.
of
Get back in that
High
little
Game
bit and go watch
if
him
we're
just
not all
flying.
checking in on this dickhead?
Checking in on this
Okay, he
dickhead.
just vanishes behind a house. This picture speaks 1,000 words. At
Oh.
least she's crying. There's a solitary
Yeah.
tear running down
She's
her cheek.
crying.
Meanwhile, the human next to her is upside down. Confused.
This is well commentated. I like it.
Overall, every year,
Have you never
this
heard of Aussie Man
tradition
Reviews?
Reminds me that our species is never changing. If we want to be reckless,
Yeah,
idiotic,
this is an
and
event that
wasteful
goes
with our
on
well-being, that's our choice. That is our right.
every
It's our
year.
God.
It's an annual
Fucking
event
fair
that goes
dinkum
on
given
somewhere
right.
in the
At least for cheese.
somewhere.
That's
in
incredible.
England.
That
See
is
that brother
incredible.
just absolutely flying.
That's awesome.
I'm just watching that video here. He's absolutely barrel rolling down that fucking hill.
Well, and what kills me is there's no cheese in that video at all.
Do you know what there isn't?
Like, where's the
There
cheese?
is not a single health and safety inspector within a mile radius of that area.
No. All right, that's a wonderful way to end this
Yeah,
episode, man.
100%.
We're gonna have to.
The cheese roll.
We're gonna have to get more into that.
I know. There is some pretty crazy traditions that the Scottish, the Irish, the Welsh, and the English all have that we still follow to this day. You know.
There, something in my brain came up. I'm remembering something from a day or so ago that was exactly what you just said. An old tradition that hasn't died, and it was, oh, man, that's gonna kill me now. I was interested in it. I can't remember what it was.
Was it an American tradition?
Yeah, I can't remember. That's the problem. This story is terrible because I can't remember what it was, but it was interesting. Oh well, I will
Right.
figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
All right,
That
man.
is done.
That's it.
Are we over with?
Hour 7.
Nice. An
Yeah.
hour and 7 minutes. Cool. Well, if
You
you
know-
guys have any ideas that we have towards this podcast, obviously I'm going to be posting on Instagram, TikTok, and on Spotify as well. We've got a video that will go up on YouTube. Feel free to comment, do whatever you need to do. Give us some ideas. Give us some, topics of discussion that we can have within the next kind of few weeks, kind of thing. But no, we are, both me and Daniel here, we are thoroughly enjoying doing this. But we need some stuff to try and keep it fresh.
A big shout out to the River Valley Satellite. They, Jonathan Dickey over there, owner and operator of River Valley Satellite. He's been gracious enough to sponsor this show with our equipment, and we really couldn't make this happen without him. So I want to just say thank you for everything that Jonathan has done for us, and we'll he'll continue to support us, I'm sure. But big fan of that guy, man. And so we appreciate it. River Valley Satellite there in Russellville, Arkansas. Thanks,
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Right. What do we got out of here?
peace.
Peace.